Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. I do apologize for the extended period of time between, recording the last one and this one, but it's finally time to get into winter forecast. And, let's just get it started. I really don't know what to say about it other than that.
Good job not setting that one on fire. What is it about marshmallows that make them so good? It's probably the animal byproduct. You mean like poo? Stuff like hooves, bone marrow, collagen, and lots of sugar and corn syrup. Corn sugar! Sugar syrup! Bone marrow. Hello?
That got disturbing.
But it's cherries. Everybody likes cherries. I'm a cherry man.
Strange logic, and yet it makes sense.
Steven, are you procrastinating? Nah, I'm just killing time.
I like
You can practically smell
like
the
that.
responsibility.
Oh god. I am simultaneously Greg and Steven.
So much for being responsible.
Hmm.
Maybe I should have worn the floral print.
Wait a minute. Steven's getting he got future vision, so he's actually getting a flash forward of what will happen if he does a certain thing.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh, yep, that's what's happening.
Oh, sorry, Steven. Are you okay?
So Steven's gonna
What's
get...
going on? Everything keeps repeating.
He's getting an idea of what will happen depending on each choice, going all the way back to when Garnet first kisses him.
Hey, what the?
House, he can't drive in the snow.
What? Yes, I can.
Please trust me. Here. What you doing? Steven? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Yep.
Garnet, what happened?
This is 100 kinds of adorable. Aw, I was kind of hoping he would get... I was kind of hoping he would get off of the couch and they would both be in the blanket, but I kind of get at the same time. But okay, now, again, I know people don't like it when I say this, but it's like, overall, plot-wise, it's a filler episode, but I do like the things that this introduced to us overall. Well, first of all being that Garnet has the ability to pass her future vision to Steven, apparently for just a moment, but even within that moment, he's able to essentially live through different possibilities, which is really, really interesting. So I really like that aspect, and considering they introduce it here, undoubtedly they're going to use it again in the future of the show. How often it'll be done, it's hard to say. Probably only when maybe, not things are going to be severely dire, but when it's really necessary, I guess you would say. Now, also, one thing that really caught my attention for obvious reasons was when Steven and Connie did get back to Steven's place and saw the crystal gems in that circle, I guess preparing to warp that that star piece. I can't remember exactly what it was, but essentially that piece that could potentially destroy the different warps. Well, you know, I just watched it, so I can't remember all the details exactly, but you know, it's something so volatile that by Pearl just, you know, accidentally breaking the circle, it essentially seemed to kill everyone, you know, for just a moment within that future vision. So I'm interested to see whether or not that will be touched upon again in the upcoming episodes. But another thing that I kind of expected to see while going back through the episode, or when we got to sort of the final version of the timeline that Steven got to go through, I expected to see some sort of blast showing that they had completed what they were trying to do, especially during that last scene where they were looking out the window. And I mean, they didn't show that, but since it was part of the timeline up until the point that Steven and Connie actually arrived there previously, I can only venture a guess that they completed what they were trying to do there. So yeah, I'm just trying to, again, although plot-wise it's mostly filler, they had that one little bit in there that is obviously pretty vital to the plot overall. I'm just curious to see where and when that might be brought up in some form. Like they might acknowledge that, okay, they succeeded in doing this, or maybe what they tried to do didn't work out the correct way. I don't know, but really interested to see what comes of that. So yeah, other than that, favorites-wise, all the different flashbacks we got to experience, the final of which had some of the more extreme moments where Steven, one, threw away the keys, and then also threw away Connie's phone. Which, again, from a kid's perspective, I understand why Steven threw away the keys, because he didn't want any of that to happen. But at the same time, he really could have just bypassed having to do another flashback by just being like, okay, let's go now, instead of throwing his dad's keys away. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But, let's see, anything else? Annoyances-wise, overall, I gotta say there's not really anything I can say overall. There really weren't any negatives as to this episode. Now, as for tracks of the episode or the music that plays during this episode, I definitely have to say the more wintry versions of just some of the themes, the way it has those nice little chimes, it gives it that very winter-like feeling. I really enjoyed that in this episode. So, I mean, I don't know if the next episode will continue being in winter or not, but just I have a huge love for, you know, wintertime songs. I know people get sick of them because of how early they often start playing, but songs that have a very winter theme to them, or just the tones that they use have that sort of chill feeling to them. Not chill as in, you know, laying back and chilling out, but, you know, chill as in they make you imagine icicles, basically. Icicles and snow. So yeah, that would work for, I guess, music of the episode. As for a quote of the episode, off the top of my head, I don't really have one in the end, so unfortunately, there's nothing really that memorable for me. Oh, I guess you could say animal byproducts, and Connie's huge affinity for them, basically, because I never really put that together with marshmallows before, at least not that frequently, so that was strange. But yeah, as far as a quote of the episodes go, as a quote of the episode goes, I would have to say it's Connie's mention and re-mentioning of animal byproducts. It was adorable and yet strange at the same time. Now, other than that, my overall thoughts of this episode, really enjoyable overall. I really did like this episode. Again, despite the fact that, for me personally, I feel that plot-wise it was mostly filler, it did have that little bit of the plot in there that's just like a little jab that who knows what's going to come of that, but also it comes around whenever we have the interactions with Connie and Steven. It's just the blossoming romance there that who knows like how far they'll actually take it in the show, because they are both so young, but at the same time they both have fused within this episode, or within this show, which from what I can tell has several different connotations, you know, from the perspective of the gems, but you know, without getting too gross with that, I enjoy seeing this blossoming and continually growing relationship between the two of them, because they're absolutely adorable. And as always, definitely looking forward to more of that. Now, as for the next episode, what comes next? We have Maximum Capacity. And yeah, I guess we'll be getting into that next. So everyone, as always, thank you so much for being here for this episode of Discovering Steven Universe. I look forward to watching and discussing this next episode with all of you. And until then, as always, feel free to leave your own thoughts, your favorites, possible annoyances for this episode in the comments down below. And I will see you all next time for Maximum Capacity. Until then, later days.